Okay, guys, welcome back. This is Christopher Vance, and we're back again at Animate Studio. Please like and share. Hopefully, you're enjoying yourself today. Today, I'm going to go to the drawing board, and I was working on some stuff. I thought you might want to look at it. It's just stuff I'm doing. I'm working on doing some more better animations for you guys because I know, I only had like simple ones on there. So I'm trying to get more detailed ones, but I'm going to show you kind of a preview of some of the things I'm working on. So this is part of what I'm working on right here. I'll show you. Uh-huh. And it's a centurion, that's a piece of artwork. And this guy is one of many, that I'm doing because I'm trying to get him to be in my video. So what you have to do with guys like this is you have to cut him out of here. So this is what I'm doing. I'm uh, I'm using the polygonal tool, which is it's like a little cursor, but when you draw, it draws a line. See the line? And every time you click, it clicks another part of the line. And I mean, this is just a selection tool. But I mean, you guys probably won't say this isn't really artwork, but it is. I mean, it's what you got to do. So I'm going through here and I'm cutting out uh, the skies. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these guys and I'm going to turn them into GIFs uh, from these pictures that I have, and they're going to be used in part of the animation. And I hope you like it when it comes out. I noticed everybody liked Jesus, walks on water. Peter walks on water. So I'm gonna go. I'm gonna do more Jesus animation type stuff. But you gotta have decent quality, and you gotta. So this is very tedious, but I'm just showing you what I'm doing. You go in here and you take this little thing and you go completely around the characters that you have. Wherever you got them from, you make them yourself, get them somewhere else, pay copyright for them, however you want to do it. Um, but these are centurions, and of course, in the story of Jesus, you're gonna definitely have some centurions in there because Roman times, that's where he was, right? So I just sitting here talking to myself, and I just got done doing one of these, and I'll show him to you. There's several of them here, and this is how I do animation. A lot of times, um, is just like Peter was done. It was like a GIF. You know what I mean? And so I learned how to do this, where a GIF is a transparent uh, picture, kind of like a ping. Only a GIF is a movie made out of a ping, right? Like I'll show you once I get this guy done. But that like and share, that's a GIF. It's transparent on the background, so you can like put it on top of other things. Uh, but it's not. It's not a single image. You know, a ping is a single image, which is like what this guy would be when I got done with him. This guy's only waist high, so I can only get so much of him. So there's, you see it highlighted the area that I went around. So I'm just going to copy that, edit copy. And then I've got another keyframe down here that I'm going to go to. And I've already got two or three guys here that I copied out, right? So I'm going to go edit, paste, and center. And here's another centurion. And see, when you take out the background of them, you can, I'm going to modify it as a group. But now you can use them like they're, supposing this was a story and these guys were walking through the thing, part of these guys could be used, dum 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 dum, da, 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 and you can move them against the background and still have these guys visible, so you don't have to redraw every little section all the time. You just have them in uh, different people. So some of them will be totally animated, and some of them will only be partially animated. The guys that are only half there. It's like it would be like a cut scene. You zoom in on them. So you would take the camera and you would zoom in on them. When they were talking, and you might just have faces of them or whatever. But that's how you zoom in on them, and you can move them around and zoom in. Or in Animate CC, there's like they have a camera that's in here. But I'm working on them, so I thought you guys would like to see it. It's pretty cool. Just like I showed you before, I don't know if you've been following along with the artboard. It talks about art and how the difference between a graphic object and a movie clip, and these are graphic objects. Now a GIF would be more of a movie clip with a transparent background. You know. So I'm gonna get another guy here. This is just one. There's so much stuff you have to do here. Uh, Here's another guy. So much you have to do here to animate these guys. You know what I mean? You have to tear them completely apart and then put them back completely back together. But I'm gonna try and do use the tool here. See if I can't get this guy to be a little easier. So I'm gonna try and break him apart here. See, he's all broken into pixels now. I guess they're pixels. But then you can come over here, instead of using the polygonal tool, you use the magic wand tool. And it goes by colors, so when I do like that, you just cut and boom, all that color is gone, that blue color. So that makes it a little easier. Now I'm going to turn around and make these shadings and stuff. I'll redo them, but for now I'm just going to kind of cut them. Well, took the whole thing. We don't want it all of it. We just want this color. So it's not perfect, when the machine does it, but hey, it's the best you can do, or best it can do. So what I do is I go in here like this and select it and go edit, cut, get rid of the other little, I call them, what do I call them? I call them something. But they're like little pieces of stuff laying around, that you don't want, Sometimes you'll see them in the video because somebody messed up, and it was still there, and they forgot to get it out of there, and you'll see it as like a fragment, But see, this bitmap is still a bitmap. You know what I mean? It was a drawing that was in vectors, and then it was turned into a bitmap, and now I'm taking it and turning it back into vectors again so that I can use it, I know that sounds crazy, and I know that you really didn't mean it, but I'm still working on that Clint Eastwood one where he talks to those guys and says, I know that you fellas are just fooling around. I don't know if I told you about that one, but I'm working on that one too. And there's so many of them you can work on. But what I was going to tell you about this is see all these cuts that I put into this character have been recorded, right? But the original file is still the same. So look, if I open this up, see that is the background, you know. So whatever's back there will come through. So you either need to go over and vectorize this whole thing, depending on how much animation you're going to do with it, or just select certain parts, you know. So there's a lot to do. And then, you know, we're not even talking animating in it yet. We're still trying to. And there's certain ways you can mess with these vectors. Because, see, watch, if I show you this sub-selection tool, you'll see the vector line that I've drawn. See? See this line? That blue line? All those, here, I'll show it to you up close. All those are vectors that I drew. There you go. And they have like little handles on them. See the two little handles? There's the handle here, and there's a handle here. It's the same thing with the ink tool and all the rest of them. You have a handle that describes how that curves away from this square point. And so you got to work in that. I mean, a lot of people like to use the pen tool because the pen tool can describe a curve pretty well. But I have never been able to use the pen tool. So what I do is I do most of it with the polygonal tool, and then I'll turn around and use like you were just seeing down here when I was doing his leg. What I'll do, I'll show you, is in order to control this edge, you see there's all these different, like here's a point here, right? See, it's got the little handles here. So if I click on that and I move that handle, that's kind of a pain in the ass way to make it move, right? But instead of doing that and going around and using the sub-selection tool the whole time, I just use the regular selection tool. And I drag it where I want to. And if there's a part that's way out there, I can change it. And the way I do it is, like, if I want a corner here, see how this is all a curve? Watch. You see how that's all a curve? There's no corner point there. And I need a corner point right here because I want to stop here and go that way. You know, I want a corner like this one. If you look with the sub-selection tool, this one will be corners. I'll show you. I'm on the selection tool. Here's the sub-selection tool. Now this one is a corner. Now I don't really know how you tell the difference between a corner and the ones that are curves, but that one's obviously a corner, right? So what I do is while I'm working, if I want to change the angle of this, I need one of those corners in here. I'll just select it like this. And I selected all these pixels, right? But I don't care about that. I'm just grabbing this part and changing it. See how that became a corner there? Right where that curve goes to it. So now I'll turn around and now there's a corner. I know that that's corner point. And I can put that corner point like right here. And then now I'm going to make this part go down, you know, the edge of it. And after a while, you get to learn how to use these. Like, you see how it's shooting, see how it does that. That's how you work with it. And you, like, if you want to cut an end off of it, you slide it down like that. See, there's a piece it got. Just hang on. You know, it's still there. But when you cross them over like this, now the edge becomes up here. You know what I mean? And these are like leftover pieces that you don't want sitting there. So I'm going to get rid of that little piece. Because later on in the animation, you'll see it. But now, see, now I'm going to bring this back down. You can put it back together. The picture behind it is still there. It's kind of like drawing a mask, you know. But the way you work with it, after a while, you'll get to where you know how to do it really good. But like here, see, I tried to go over these, or no, he did it with the machine did it, and some of the cut-in places didn't do it right. So what I'll show you how I would do it. I would go along with the polygonal tool, see, and I say, okay, let's start here, and I go here and go up and across and over, and I have to go over this whole thing, and I'm using the mouse wheel to move as I'm talking, right? So you see my line here where I cut it compared to he just kind of curved over it. So and then I go edit cut, and you see how much more perfect that is. And you notice that when the computer does it, it's got like a threshold thing on it uh, of how far it can, the computer can, a threshold of the color compared to the other colors. But you could see these were like loops inside of them. See them? So the way you want to get rid of it if you're just working with this thing is see how I twisted it like that? And that's what you do. You just twist them and they just, boom, they disappear. Now here is a corner. I want a corner right there, right? But this line doesn't have one. It's only a curve. So what I do is I go in here and I go like that. Sometimes I'll do this way and I'll go like this and then I cut that. And now there's a hole there. But that hole gave me those two corners, right, to work with. So now this corner can go down here. And then I'll just get rid of this piece. See how it flips over? And then I'll bring this in, and there's another edge here. Evidently, there was two or three edges. So there's that corner, right? See how it fit right in there? This one didn't really fit right in like it should have, but. And then I can just bring this one to the place I need him at right there, and then bring this down. Now you see how when I bring that straight, it cut off that edge? Well, instead of worrying about that, I just grab hold of this with selection tool. And then when I grab this out, it'll come out by itself, see? But if you don't do it right, you'll have all this out here, all these different colors and stuff. You don't want all that. You just want your image, you know what I mean, that you want. So that's what I'm doing. I'm going around perfecting all these edges around the ends of this bitmap. So when you're doing artwork, you got to know the difference between a bitmap, a ping, a GIF, whether you're going to do something in pixels. There's all these different formats and stuff. It really is kind of a pain. Now see, here's another part that goes behind him that I'm going to cut out that, I didn't do with the other tool. So you have these other tools to use, but they're not, by any stretch of the imagination perfect. So, like, if you wanted to animate this guy now, you would have to break him apart even further. I mean, right now he looks pretty good. I can select the whole thing, modify it as a group, and now I can move him around, so you could be like a centurion, marching along. But if you wanted to move him even more, you could go in here and take, for instance, I'll show you. You can go in here and take his shield and say, okay, I like this particular shield. I'm going to go in here and now I'm going to take this this selection polygonal tool and I'm going to go through here. And I'm going to grab the shield, right? And anything out here you don't have to worry about because this is all transparent out here. So we just go back around and boom. Now just the shield is selected. So I go edit, copy, edit, paste in center. And now I modify it as a group. So now I have a shield on top of my guy, Well, you see it. I don't know, did it miss that edge or is that what it's supposed to look like? I don't know. Let's zoom in here. This is the type of thing you got to do, but Yeah, you see, I don't think it got this edge right. Is that way? Yeah, I guess that was the edge of it, huh? Let's see how it's longer here than it should have been. So you gotta kind of fool around with it because yeah, it's not perfectly oval like it should be, and you have to get them perfect or they're gonna look funny. You know what I mean? Like this one does already. So sometimes when it's like this, but it's not smooth, you can go over here and select the smooth line tool while your selective tool is hovered, and you'll see these. You got one that says make straight and one is smooth, and if you use this one, it'll smooth it. Watch, see it smooth that. I know it was real tiny, but this little thing right in here disappeared. Watch, I'll do it again. See it reorganize. When you smooth it, it takes out the incongruities, like right along here. There's incongruities in the vector. So let me go ahead and grab it and smooth it. Watch. See, 1, 2, 3. See, it's getting smoother and smoother. So now it's off a little right here because that doesn't really follow this line like it should. So I'll go in here and bring this down. But see, it must have had 2 or 3 or square handles in there because I grab it and it's not moving the whole thing. It's just moving this little part. And see, the other character is still here, so there's a whole nother image of this guy right here in this picture. It became a whole nother image, but all I want is the shield, right? So I'm gonna switch this from this side to that side. So like when you switch it over like this, it disappears, right? And you'll get like a line there. So I'm back fighting with this line again. Hopefully I got rid of all the. I'm trying to get this curve just perfect, so it comes around this edge the way it's supposed to. It looks pretty good now. I could probably make it look a little better. But it's nice when you have a certain color like blue or something back there that you know what you're going against. But anyway, so now I have a shield that I can use with one of the other guys, one of the guys that doesn't have a shield. See, here's a problem vector back here. See it right there? So I need to get rid of that. So I need to go into this guy. He's not grouped yet. So I'm going to grab this part and see how I flipped it over. If I leave it like this, it's going to be blue. But if I grab hold of it and do it the other way, it vanishes. And it was that thing there. So you're all the time fighting against and working with these vectors and whether or not it's a curve or a. And they tell you, when you first start, they say, oh, you should learn the pen tool because it does curves a lot better. When you're working in vectors, you're either going to do it in a straight line or you're going to do it in curves, or you got to learn how to work in both. So, and now they have such nice tools in Animate CC and stuff that you can actually move these bitmaps with, they wrap them with like, I don't know how to, so here's the little tool. It's the asset warp tool, and it'll warp these assets for you. But what I was going to say was, I made this shield, right? So I made the shield into a group so I can't just disturb it. I got to double click it and go into it to disturb the vector around it. So now I can have him carrying 2 shields, or I can have him have a shield on his back. I could flip this shield around like this. You know what I'm saying? Now he's a guy with 2 shields. Or, you can put it on a different character. So I'm going to edit and cut this, because this key here is where I'm doing all the work in. So I'm going to go over here to this other one where I got these other guys. Once I get out of this, I'll go over here and I'll edit paste it here. I'm going to paste it in the center. So this is like a sprite sheet that I'm making up. And I'll have shields and see how that guy's got a different shield. So, but like when you're animating and stuff and you got this guy back here and he needs a shield, you give him a shield. He can, while he's fighting with the other guys, you can have him hold his shield, move his shield back and forth. and animate it, you know. So there's that shield, and then I'm going to go back and get that guy too. I've already got him. So for some reason, when you click on it and that bounding box is huge like that, it usually means that there's a piece of this cutout that you left over here on the side somewhere. And you'll see the bounding box was like, way the hell over there? It's like, why is that bounding box so big? And you'll find out there's a little pixel over here of the thing, but I think it was showing me because of the other shield that I had on there. So anyway, here he is, and I don't know if he's grouped, but there's one way to find it out. Let's go to the properties, and it says it's an object, and it says, yes, it is a group. See it say group there? And you can look at this thing, it says break apart, and it would break apart the group of things that you group together into its various parts. Of course, this guy, the only thing it would break apart to would be his pixels. But this is how you animate the guy. This is how I do it. Is by cutting them all apart and putting all back together. So here we're going to go ahead and cut him off here, and we're going to go back to these guys, edit, paste in the center, and there we go. So there's another centurion. So he looked like a baby centurion there, but I mean, if you had him like this and you had these guys behind him, you could make it look like, and this is what I'm going to do, you know, like the guys coming to get Jesus, you know, and you can move them all, you know, and animate their mouths and take their shields and spin their shields around while they're talking, and you know what I mean? And it just makes everything look so much realer. So right now I'm just gathering the assets, but I thought it was kind of cool, you know, that I love these centurions, man. They're cool people. I mean, you know, if you think about it, they love their children. You know what I mean? I was looking, they had this guy here. He's got, and I've always seen this. I don't know, you've probably seen it too. You see the leaves they carry with them, and I notice they have them around their heads and stuff too. It's like these guys believed in peace for their people. You know what I mean? Rome was a big peace-loving place, but it was through might. You know, peace through might, and that's just kind of like they had Reaganomics. But what I'm saying is, they were kind of at the height of human physical ability. You know what I mean? Without anything but just their physical strength. These guys were giants, man. You don't get to look like that without doing some work, if you know what I mean. Like, working out. So those guys, and I'm still going. I've got a bunch of them to do here, so I'll show you another one. See, now, that bounding box shows me that there's something on there that it's bounding around. You know what I mean? So I'm going to go edit cut. So now, whatever it was, there was some little piece. It could be just one or two little pixels in there. And sometimes you'll get where sometimes you'll make a movie, and the first part of the movie will be transparent, because you want it to start off transparent, like, you know, like the like and share thing. I'll show you. See, like this here is a GIF. Let me show you the like and share. So, like this thing here, this is a GIF. You know, this like and share, and I can move it around. I can make it smaller, you know, or I can make it bigger. But it's a GIF, you know, a GIF. And, some people call them GIFs, whatever you guys want to call it. But what I'm saying is, if you watch this thing, see that's the only thing that I did to it was have this and share arrow come up in it. But I made that, you know what I'm saying? So, but you notice it's transparent, you know, whatever else I'm watching here, like this background is still there too, you know what I mean? So even though this is a GIF, I can use it on top of something else. Well, that's kind of how you do animations. Is you put the one thing on top of another. You know what I mean? You use these GIFs. Some GIFs you loop. Some GIFs you play once. You know. And see, when you're in the vector program, uh, please like and share, by the way, before I go on. Uh, the YouTube like and share. That's no kidding. I appreciate it when you. If you guys don't like something, tell me that too, man. Click on there and I mean, I could come on here and myself and look you in the face while I'm doing it, but I'm on the working board. I'm doing something here, so anyway, uh, getting back to what I was doing. Um, I'm working with all these centurions right now. Because, they're going to come to get Christ. You know how they do. But, you can't judge anybody. You can't judge a centurion. You don't know what the hell this guy went through in his life. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure he loved his children. Everybody thinks they're right in their own mind. They have their own self-worth and righteousness. Let me try and use a tool on this, see if it'll work. Once it's broke apart, you can use this tool. And there you go, it worked fine. When they have a white background like that, it usually works pretty good. Let me zoom in, though. Now, see how good this looks? Now, let me zoom in, and you can tell me if it still looks good. Let's see. Oh, now that was real nice. See, there's a little fragment there. See how they go in the wrong way when they do the corner sometimes? But yeah, it's pretty accurate. They did a pretty good job. The computer did. Oh yeah, they did all this good too. Now see, it left a remnant up here. It does this a lot. It'll leave a line where the page was. But I just double click it and cut it. And that gets rid of that. But yeah, it did a good job. When it's white like that, it usually does a pretty good job. So that guy's ready. I'm just going to modify and group him and edit cut. And then I'm going over to my ping sheet, which these are all pings. They're transparent pings. They're going to be on a sprite sheet. And you can make games this way too. I'm going to edit, paste it in center. There he is, another guy, And it's funny, I mean, this guy looks the exact same as that guy. Let's see. Is this the same guy? Let's see. He sure is. This is the same guy. So I could use him, Ta-da! You look at there he is without a shield, with a shield. And so they're assets either way you look at it, you know what I mean? So I got a bunch of them here. I'm just going to keep going with them. But I'm trying to show you how you build a sprite sheet, what a GIF is, what a ping is. Because, man, I had some problems. I don't know if I could show you. Let me see if I could show you. I'll show you some of I think it was here, Recover Jesus. Yeah, look at this. See what happened? This is what happened. I was doing Jesus' face, and I went back, and all these pictures were gone. Even though in the library, the JPEGs are still there, which is what these are. They weren't bitmaps, they were JPEGs, which is the joint photographic. But they were saying that the reason this happens is because of something with the color, but I haven't been able to figure it out. So I've just learned that I have to save these guys as pings. And I was looking at the library, and I noticed that if you right-clicked on the library, see it says Generate Sprite Sheet. So I learned that if I made each one of these guys a symbol, I could turn around and save them as a sprite sheet. So that's what I've been doing. I don't know if I'm completely right about it or not, but I've got to have Jesus' face in a million different ways, so I don't want this. Now, this is the one that it automatically recovered. You know how it has an automatic save thing comes up every now and then? But I keep saving like crazy, you know what I mean? Because I save in 2 or 3 different places, man. And even still, you lose stuff. You lose a lot of assets if you're not careful. So this is what I've been doing, and I hope you enjoy watching. Uh, because I've never seen a centurion with that type of. Isn't that amazing? But that they had such beautiful armor. I'm gonna cut all this out and do their eyes, and you know what I mean. So that when we do that scene, there'll be guys in there that is that the man? Yeah, this is him. He says he's the king of the Jews. And I'm gonna do this for God. I mean, I love God with all my heart, so I believe in the Lord. People don't like it. Some people told me the other day, well, don't do your website like that. Split it into 2 different things. Don't just do arts and humanities and turn around and do religion. And it's like, well, it's not really religion. It's art. You know what I mean? But I believe in God, so why not honor God by I'm trying to do some stuff. I hope I will be able to complete this before I die. You know what I mean? Because it might happen at any time. But anyway, that's what I've been working on. That's the difference between a sprite and a GIF. And I hope you guys enjoy it. I don't want to waste too much of your time. I feel like if I keep doing this forever, you're just gonna be like, oh, like he's just clicking around, click, 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 and. I know you want something interesting to watch. You don't really want to listen to me. See what it says down here? Could not load scene into the memory. Your document may be damaged. Well, yeah, that document that I opened up sure as hell was damaged. And I really, it breaks your heart when you go in there and you spend hours and hours cutting these guys up. Look at this guy. I missed something on him. Watch. I just noticed it. See right there? That part of his background wasn't removed. I must have done. Well, no, I cut this out. I remember cutting him out. But you could see I didn't do too good a job. I need to go in here. And this is another thing you need to do. See, you'll go in here and go click, 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 and you're trying to get it right, but they've got curves in here, and you're using straight line. So you have to go back in here and grab this. Let me go into his group. Grab that corner and put it down here. And grab this corner and move it in, right? And then make this into a curve. And then usually you can do it with 1 or 2 things. So I'm going to bring this one down. And there's where the curve enters. And now this is a circle, see? So that's what you're trying to give just the right curve. Now, you could probably do it with the pen tool, but I'd like to see you do it. I mean, I can't. It's like a click and drag thing with the, and see here how there's no, this is all a curve. There's no corner. So what I do is I just make a corner. I go like this and go edit, cut, and boom, there's a corner right there. And I'll lay that corner down in here somewhere where I want, and then I'll just pull these out like this. And I can make as big a curve as I want. And this here is a remnant left. I'll get rid of it. And then grab this. As soon as you hover over it, you can't really see it because the cursor is below the line right now. But it'll give you a line. It'll show you a line. See that line right there behind the cursor? That's showing you that it's a curve. And when you hit these corners, it'll show you it's a 90-degree corner. See it? Anyway, I know that's something so small and insignificant. I probably should zoom in so that you can see it better. But it does do that. The cursor, when you hover over it. But anyway, you can get really precise this way. Like up here. See, I can, and as you can see, this is a whole picture. I mean, watch. If I grab all of this, see, it goes way the hell out there. This is a whole picture. All I'm doing is cutting a mask for the part of the JPEG that I want to make into a GIF or a ping, with a transparent background. So if you go way out here, yeah, his hair was way out here. See, so like here, I've got a corner, and see if you select it, you don't select one little part of it. You select the whole entire bitmap or JPEG. But you can select certain parts of it with this magic wand. Watch. If I go in here, if I click, it'll not. It still did the whole thing. But if I just had a certain color, it would probably just click that. See how it didn't select his face, but it did select all this gray? But the problem is, see, it goes in and it selectively cuts out certain things by the thing, and it's just the formula that it uses. I don't really understand it. There's like a threshold to it? How many colors away from the color that you're picking? So I don't use it unless it's like a big one, around the edge. Like, look at these holes. I didn't even make these holes in here, but this is how I get rid of them. See, I just drag them because I realize that the picture's still there behind it. There really is no hole. It's just a mask over it. But you don't want to get too many of these in there, because sometimes when you're animating something that you don't want to, some parts you don't want to be see-through. Now, see there, it kept moving, moved the whole object. Well, that'll happen. You'll go to move this edge and you'll click down on it and it'll move the whole thing because it selected everything. You want to only click on it when it's hovering over that line. And then you can move the line. But there's a lot more to it than you would think. You know what I mean? You'd think it'd be real easy, but when you go to do it, there's a bunch of tricks to how to get it to go where you want it to go. And I had to learn how to do it, so I was teaching you. Maybe you won't have so much trouble with some of it. See how I'm flipping that around? And boom, it's gone. Now this little piece here, that little corner, really shouldn't be there, so I'm going to get rid of that. And see how I did around this ear? That ain't cool, But his head was right there, so let me get this corner and bring it down to where the ear should be, and then bring up this part. And now I got another corner over here that really doesn't need to be here. And this curve, I'm going to smooth it back, bring it out a little bit. And then I'm going to bring this corner to where the corner just disappears. It's like a spider's web. Once you grab hold of it, it'll move according to the curve of it. But it's just like a spider web you're making. Spider-Man, Spider-Man does whatever a spider can. It'd be interesting to do Spider-Man too. I mean, there's a million different ones you could do. But I worry about copyright, because I can't just go in and do. I mean, this could be Superman, but if I do, they'll say that I can't monetize it because I don't own Superman or Spider-Man or Batman or, I used to love doing Batman. He was one of my favorites. I'm not like this crazy religious person. And they will only let you do so much, because of copyright. Have you noticed that? Nowadays they're charging everything. They're trying to charge everybody for using everything, They just want to get you on a subscription. They'll even let you do it for free if you'll just subscribe, And it's like, oh, it's only $12 a month. It's like, yeah, but that's just one of them. I need sound, I need video, I need, Look at here now. Now this is a curve, and I need a corner. So I could go in here with the selection tool, sub-selection tool, and select this, and I can go and just click here and add one. Watch. think I can. Now, there's a way to do it. I don't know what it is right now. I don't really want to mess with it. But the easier way is just to go in here and cut a corner. Now I'll get two corners out of this. You know what I mean? See, so that cut a corner. So there's a corner, right? When I hover over it, it'll turn into a corner. But see right now how it's turned into a, I don't know if you can see it or not, but it's turned into a curve. And that's showing you that this line here is a curved line. But you may have, several corners in one place, and you don't want them like that. And it'll get all confusing. Or you might have all curves, and you won't want that. The lesser the curves, the better. And it just goes on and on and on. But it's something I'm doing. I'm not trying to, give you a hard time about nothing. I'm just enjoying myself. Thought you'd like to see the picture that I was working on. Here's another curve. And this is what you end up doing. I mean, it takes a lot of patience to sit here and go over, every little part of this and make your little curves everywhere. And like this one is an outie, it needs to be an innie. And this one needs to go out. So now it's got a curve here, or a little inside line. And this should go over on top of this thing. So like if you grab a curve and I'm clicking on it and I'm moving it, it'll change where the curve is, just like if you had a handle on it. So you learn to do it without the handles and without the, all the other stuff, because, hey, man, I ain't got time for all that. You know what I mean? Here's a little piece that's left, and you got to be careful. You don't want a bunch of little pieces. See, now this curve is way messed up. It works fine down here, but when you get over here, it's supposed to go back over again. But there's a corner here, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut the corner off, make a flat edge out of it. You could do it that way, or you could just grab it and pull it, and it'll cut, by wherever it lands. But now I have this other edge, and when I hover over it and it shows a curve, then I know there's a curve there that I can move the curve or change the type of curve it is. Like here, I don't want that point sticking up, so I'm going to cut that off. I'm just going to use a straight line, cut it. And imagine having to go over all these different pictures and straighten them out like that. Like here, see how that line is not matching this line? So I'm going to have to try and grab this and see if I can. Oh, yeah, that worked fine. It went right in there. Somehow it was curved a little bit. But sometimes you don't mind a little dark line there, but there, that worked good. Oh, what happened here? See? This is all messed up. So, but I was the one who did this. But here's a corner. I'm going to bring it up to here. And when I did, it made a new corner up here. See how it's trying to fight with me? Because there's like too many corners here. See, I must have clicked on it 4 or 5 times or something. But anyway, I'm going to take this one and bring it right down here. And then this hole that I made, this great big line here, I'm going to grab it and pull it back across, see? And try and make it even here so that line was straight. It's like sometimes you could grab the curb and go like this and just make a straight line out of it. As long as you can subscribe a curve out of it that'll do the kind of curve you want to do around the image. But that's what it's like working in vectors, and a lot of people draw in vectors. There's a lot of different tricks to how to draw in vectors. But like that curve there, you can only do a curve so far before it gets out of hand, like this one is. So I'm going to try to cut this. And now This is just one curve, but watch, it won't do it. See, it's cool over here, but then this edge is too flat, you know. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab this edge, and then I'm gonna move this edge out a little bit more, and then that didn't make really. It makes more of a curve. Well, there is a corner there, but as you can see, it turned out okay. Now, I mean, that may not look like much on its own, but you got to remember you're on a minute scale here. You know what I mean? You're looking at. So here's his hand, and here's one of the corners right here. I'm gonna put it right here, and then I'm gonna pull this one out. So now that corner needs to go right where that. There it is. Okay, and then this corner needs to go right here, and then I'll pull this one out for his second finger. And then this one needs to go in this hole, and I'll just pull. Sometimes you go to pull it, and the whole thing will become selected, and it'll just move everything instead of the curve. So when I'm going back in here now, this one now the only thing is there's a corner there that needs to be in there, so I'll just cut it. Boom, there's a corner. I'll put it right there. So this is how we do it. Now, I mean, there's probably guys that know how to do it a lot better than me. They probably got secret things they do and stuff. But see, I missed this entire area here when I was cutting it out. Or I probably just left it to do later on, you know. Because, you know, you get so tired of doing it. It's like click, 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 click. Click, 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 you know, click, 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 click. Ah. And it gets you, it's so tedious that after a while it kind of makes you grouchy, you know, you've been working at it all day and, you know. But if you ever do find yourself working in them, I just wanted you to know what it was like and what to expect from vectors. And I'm working with vectors on a JPEG, which is a bitmap, which is a photograph, you know, of another guy's vectors. So there, see, when you go in and click it all right, you don't need to fix it up because you straighten it all out. Sometimes you'll get stuff like this where you don't need that, you know. You can go in and cut the swords out. I mean, you can cut this whole thing, every piece of it out. But the problem is when you do, you'll have to go back and draw in anything behind, or you're going to have backgrounds, you know what I mean? You can't, I mean, if you do this, you're going to have backgrounds to put this in front of, right? So, like, if you cut this diadem, this thing right here, if I go in here and I go, okay, let's cut this out, right? And I go along here and I cut this out, which I'm not going to do perfectly round because it's easier to do straight lines. But I go modify or edit, copy, and then I go edit, paste, and center. So now I have one of these things, right? And I modify it as a group. So when it's over here, like if it was on his thing here, like on these, like they show on these little ones, yeah, and you could do that. You know, you could shrink them down, put them on here. Then you could animate that as he was walking along. You know, you could have it, you know, moving around. But the thing is, you can't put it. I mean, if you put it on top of itself, it's just when it moves, it's going to show itself underneath that. And that, you know, unless you're doing a whole bunch of them, it probably wouldn't look good. So, like if you're doing his arm or something, I mean, it's easy with diadems. But when you're moving the guy's arm, I'm zooming in. I want to zoom out. Or if you're moving this part of his arm, whenever these move, that inside there you need to see. You know what I mean? So any part that has to move on top of another part or move away from another part, you have to replace like it. Like if I want to move this sword and that hand, like watch, I'll show you. If I wanted to take this hand or this arm with the sword in it, let's say I thought it was a good idea. I like this arm, and I'm going to end up doing this with all of it, but I'm just showing you. Okay, so I get this arm right, and I make an object out of it. Edit, copy. So now, edit, paste, and center. I have this arm, right? Modify it as a group. So here's the arm, right? And I want to, use this arm as we're going along. And he picks up his sword, and he. Let me move this transformation point to his shoulders so that you can see what I'm talking about. So you got his arm, and you're all right, you slave. You do what I tell you. And then that way you're moving it, right? But the thing is, anything that was already there is no problem. This arm moves right across like his chest or whatever, right? But the problem is, what do you do with this part of his arm? Well, any part of his old arm is no problem. You just get rid of it, right? You would go along here like this and get rid of it. I'll show you. You just go up in here and cut this part out, right? You go edit, cut. So now this can, oops, this can sit on top of there, right? And it looked like it's him with his knife. Of course, his knife's kind of small, but you see what I'm talking about. But the thing is, when you go to move it, sometimes you have to draw in what was behind the thing, because when you cut it out, there's nothing there no more. You know what I mean? I don't know how to explain it, but when you do this, you're gonna have to like kind of like this sword. You know how the sword is only that far. Well, in order to get a full sword, you're gonna have to cut a whole another sword out of somewhere else or something. But it would make a really good animation, And you cut him at the elbow, and you put bones to him, and So that's how you do it. So anyway, I've cut this guy all out. I've got his arm cut, so I'm working here. I'm trying to explain to you guys too, but this is what I'm working on. So I'm just gonna modify this whole thing as a group, and then he's just gonna sit there. But as you know, you and I both know that arm actually wasn't there. I moved it, and luckily we could have removed the old arm, and so they don't see it. But sometimes, like if you remove this other arm and you've got this cape behind it, you have to fill in that whole cape where his arm was. That's what I was trying to tell you. But anyway, that's a little short course on how you animate stuff. Now, see, if you got something like this, you don't have to worry about it. You know what I mean? Because the picture behind it has already been drawn, so you can move it anywhere you want. But when you cut it off something, you've got to redo the whole thing anyway. So that's what I've been working on in Animate Studio, and this is the drawing board. Thanks for coming by. I don't want to bore you, you know what I mean? But I hope that you would like and share this on YouTube. If you believe in Jesus Christ, a lot of them say that. If you believe in Jesus, like and share. I'm gonna do like one where Jesus is talking to you and say, please like and share. It's funny, I never did very many of these little GIFs or anything. I always thought you could get them somewhere. But when you go and try and get them, man, they're really hard to find. And then, they have these, like there's motion graphics. There's a couple things where you can go online. They got all these assets, that you can purchase. Like you pay like $20, $30 a month, and you can get any asset you want. But the thing is, I can't afford all that. So I've had to make all this stuff from scratch. You know what I mean? That's why it's taken me so long to get back to you guys. But I appreciate when you like and subscribe. I've got a lot of subscribers now, and I thank God for all of you. And we're gonna have some more for us. And I'm gonna do you. I'm gonna try and show you some really good animations here. It's just a Jesus is. It's a simple story, but it's a pretty long story. I mean, I don't know. I might be able to do little parts first, you know. But I'm gonna show you the logo again. This is the logo that I made for Animate Studio. And there's a little chess. We play chess sometimes. Sometimes we do different things. But I was just showing you some of the, because I get so frustrated, man. And I see stuff, I'll be doing that stuff, the Centurions, and then I'll turn around and go, wow, this is really cool. You guys ought to see this. So I thought I'd show you, what we were working on there. And there's so many things that I work on that I mean I don't have time to do like movies of every single one of them, and they're kind of boring. You get all the tedious hard work, and you don't want to sit there and see all that. But I try and make it interesting for you and keep talking to you and let you know that we're here for you, man. And we just want you to have fun. We want you to enjoy your life, and you know why sit at somebody else and go, hey man, that movie looks stupid, or that you didn't do a good job on that. I mean, a lot of my stuff was that way at first, and a lot of people would make fun of it. That's stupid. You could tell they just look away from it, because it wasn't what they expected. They want more. People don't have an imagination. When you say, oh, I can animate this or I can do this, and they're like, oh yeah, well, it just looks like a walk cycle to me. Well, yeah, it is just a walk cycle, but the thing is, once you have that walk cycle, you have it. You can use it. You can use that walk cycle in a game. You can use it here. It's an asset. Excuse me. Talking too much, I'm starting to get hoarse. But anyway, I'm glad that you showed up, man. If you've seen the show, come again. I'm gonna try and do. I'm keeping it. I'm pushing out the videos now for you. I'm gonna try and get one for you once a week, or because it's coming up, man. I've got that. I've got that Clint Eastwood one that's coming out. It's not really Clint Eastwood. It's my character, and I'm doing a Clint Eastwood thing. And then I've just, I'm gonna try and do this Lord thing because Jesus is happy when I honor him, and he deserves all the honor anyway. I mean, he really is the one that does. He deserves all the honor, the glory, and the shame if there is any too. So, let him take control because my shame. God, you don't want to see my shame. But anyway, thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you next time. And God bless.